it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 14 of Chance Ball, and this one is titled Insecure Dabi. Okay, look, you're the only one who holds me down. You're the only consistency in my really screwed up life. Well, I understand that, but that's not really the best reason to get married. I mean, I love you too, but I think maybe you need to talk to someone about everything that's happened. As if I'd ever do that. He snorted. Talk to some random old fart about my problems. He doesn't know crap about what I've been through. Well, they're professionals. They'll be able to help you, he replied encouragingly. Nah, not happening, he said, pushing off you and sitting up. Hey, I'm trying to help you, Dabi. You've been through a lot, and you really haven't spoken to anybody about it. Not even me, he said with a frown. I care about you. I'll even come with you. What, so you can sit there and judge and pity me? No thanks, he snorted. The hell? You shot back. Do you really think I'd do that? I know we've been on and off, but I've always been there for you, Dabi. How can you go from I want to marry you to you're just a judgmental bitch in 2 seconds flat? That's not fair, you said, sitting up and hopping off the bed, grabbing your top and slipping it on. I think you should go now. Fine, Dabi replied curtly, hopping off the bed and grabbing his clothes and putting them on before leaving without saying a word. Your heart sank. Why were you two like this? When you were good, you were amazing, but when you were bad, it was the worst. He marched out the door of your house and left without even looking back. You walked back over onto your bed and flopped down, hot tears flooding down your face. Was I out of line? Should I have said something differently? You lay there rethinking everything you'd said. The next day at school, you and Dabi didn't talk at all. It wasn't like he was avoiding you, but he just didn't acknowledge you. That hurt. Amazingly, you held it together for the day, and when the final bell rang for home, you ran. You made a mad dash for the door, running for the front gate and freedom from this anxiety of not being on good terms with your man. You just about got out the gate when you were aware of someone running behind you. As you turned to look, they caught up with you and grabbed you from behind, slapping their hand over your mouth so you couldn't let out a loud scream that was bubbling in your throat. You fought to get free and let your captor have it, throwing punches and kicks blindly, even though you couldn't see them because they still had a hold of you from behind. All your attacks were in vain until you managed to get your leg up between theirs and kick firmly up into their crotch. Oh! Oh! You heard a very familiar male voice groan. Suddenly you were let go and your attacker fell to the ground, cupping his family jewels. Dabi? You panted. What the heck? Okay, I deserve that, he moaned, still in obvious agony from your well-placed heel. What? First you accuse me of things that aren't true and then you attack me? You shot, crossing your arms across your chest as you struggled to calm your breathing. No, he panted. I was wanting to apologise. Who are you and what have you done with Dabi? You snorted. Dabi never apologises. I've apologised to you many times, you goldfish, have you no memory? He jeered, looking up at you slyly from where he was still doubled over on the ground. I could very easily kick you again, boy, watch yourself, you warned. Okay, look, it's hard for me to admit that I need help, he said, his voice trailing off. I know, babe, I know, you said softly, your whole demeanour relaxing. It just hurts that you snapped at me like that then you just friggin' straight up ignored me today, you added, tears welling up in your eyes. I was embarrassed, because you're right, he said, his head dropping down. Would you come with me if I saw someone about stuff? Of course. You know I'm here for you, babe, you said, kneeling down to lift his head up. You leaned in and kissed him gently, your lips moving tenderly together. I hope you don't want children, because I can't give you any after that kick, he grunted as he tried to get up. Do I want little assholes running around? Let me think about that, he replied playfully. You love my assholeness. You're the only one who can handle me, he said, standing up gingerly. That's true, you replied with a smile. We good? He asked as he looked fondly down at you. Yeah, we're good, you replied with a smile. But honestly, dude, just talk to me. We can't keep being so perfectly terrible for each other. You know I've always got your back, baby. Even when we're fighting, I still love you more than life itself, he said confidently, grabbing you in for a hug and kissing down your neck. He walked you home and surprisingly didn't try and jump your bones, saying that he was going to do some Googling for someone to unscrew him up, which you were pretty certain that it meant someone to help him, but true to his style, he had to make it sound as unflattering as possible. Text me when you think you found someone good, yeah? You said as you made your way to your front door. Yeah, he replied dismissively, not wanting to make a big deal about it. It was later that night that you were chilling on the couch and he rang. Sup, jackass baby, you greeted casually. Is that how you greet your husband? He asked, his voice clear and unfazed by your cheeky insult. Yes, so get used to it, you replied, turning the volume of the TV down so you two could talk. You didn't turn me down when I said husband that time. So we're making it official tomorrow or what? He asked hopefully. After we see your new unscrewer, you replied with a smirk that you were pretty sure that he could feel from the tone in your voice. Did you find anyone? Yeah, some chick that I'm pretty sure would be down for a threesome if you're keen. I'm talking about a psychiatrist, you ass, not a hooker, you snorted. Oh, yeah. Found an older lady that throws mass grandma vibes, he said. She could be good. Reviews say she's pretty cool. You knew he was just messing with you about the threesome comment earlier. It was his way of deflecting his embarrassment on having to open up about this topic. Sweet, so when's the first appointment? Well, tomorrow, after school. Awesome! I'll be there, you said. Don't want you chatting up a grandma in my absence. He let out a deep chuckle. I mean, if she's keen to get busy, I could try and get it up. Ugh, you're the worst, Dabi, you said with faux exasperation. The next afternoon after school you met Dabi at the gates. He was looking hella anxious and didn't even look you in the eye as you came up beside him. You ready? You asked softly. No, he grunted, clenching and unclenching his jaw. You were going to try and say something witty, but decided that he was probably too far gone to want to have a bit of banter, so you just stayed quiet and reached for his hand, squeezing it as he slipped your small hand into his. He squeezed back and glanced at you. Those turquoise eyes would always make your heart skip a beat, and you smiled at him. You're cute, he said lowly. You didn't really know why he said it or where it came from, but you were just happy to know that you two were on good terms. As you made it to the psychiatrist's office, he started to hang back a bit. His hand was starting to sweat a little too. What can I say right now that would help? You panicked internally. You didn't want to give him the option of backing out of today's meeting because you knew he needed this, and the more often he cancelled appointments, the easier it would be to just never actually get help. You let go of his hand and marched up to the door, pushing it open before walking in. You didn't even look back at him. Maybe if I act like it's no big deal, he'll just follow suit? It worked. He didn't want to look weak, so he followed you into the building, making his way to the reception desk and leaning down on it with one elbow. Hey, he said calmly but slightly flirty to the lady on the computer. Here for my appointment with Mrs. Fix-It. Mrs. Dokiatsu, sure, the younger receptionist said without batting an eyelid. I'm sure she gets this kind of people all the time coming through these doors. Nothing phases her, you thought with a smirk. She punched some things into the computer, then gestured to the waiting lounge. She won't be long. Have a seat, Mr. Todoroki. Mr. Todoroki? Not even a first name? Dabi replied with a smirk. I only call my cats by their first name, the receptionist shot back without missing a beat. You had to look away so she wouldn't see you laughing. You knew Dabi would be fine though. Punchy, he replied with a smirk. I like you already. You walked up behind him and took his arm. Stop harassing the poor lady, you said with a laugh. I was just getting started though, he moaned playfully. You tissed him and dragged him over to a seat, forcing him to sit down. He wasn't as stiff now after that short but important exchange between him and the receptionist, and you were hopeful the psychiatrist would be as good as the receptionist at sorting him out. Mr. Todoroki, a sprightly older voice called as a very pleasant older lady appeared in the hallway door. Come and have a chat with me. You felt Dabi stiffen slightly beside you, and you groaned internally. Dang it, this could go either way. Dabi got up stiffly and you followed him as he made his way down the hall, following the older lady who was Mrs. Dokiatsu. Please be a good one, please be a good one, you chanted internally as you entered her office. It looked to be a very straightforward room, and you were beginning to wonder if maybe she would be a little too old school for Dabi. So, what brings you here? She asked brightly as she sat down, gesturing for both of you to sit. Her. He pointed to you. And then my legs. He responded sarcastically. Well, I'm only one up on you because I came in my car, she replied with a wink as she reached for her coffee cup. Can I interest either of you in a drink? Got any hard liquor? Dabi asked with the most serious face you'd ever seen him wear, but that mischievous twinkle was flashing in his eyes. Oh, God, yes, but that's just for me at the end of the day, she replied with a laugh. You only get coffee, tea, or juice, hun? He smirked. You relaxed. She just might be okay. For the next 20 minutes it seemed to be a very superficial conversation, but you could see that she was just trying to get Dabi comfortable. She didn't push for him to open up, she didn't try and force any topics on him. She just observed him and let's be honest, he had all his goddamn walls up, and you knew it would take a while for him to pull them down. I know it's still kind of a bit boring, but I'd like to hope that as the book continues on, it maybe gets a little bit more interesting. I don't know. Anyway, stay tuned for chapter 15 coming tomorrow. I'll see you then.